Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Kickstarter Real Estate Investing. In this week's episode, I wanted to talk about what are some of the things an investor has to be aware of when they're buying a property in an HOA-based subdivision. So what is an HOA? HOA means Homeowners Association. So any subdivision or condo or apartment complex you go to, there are going to be a select group of people, which are basically homeowners, who either are elected or self-nominate themselves as people who are going to be forming a committee or homeowner association to look at the welfare and the good of the community, right? So they are basically elected to help maintain the community, to make sure everyone follows the rules and regulations of it. And all that is pretty good. If you are living in one subdivision or a condo or an apartment complex like that, and you have a good HOA in place, that's definitely helpful to you. But as an investor, what are some of the things you have to take care of when you're working with a particular property which belongs to a subdivision or a condominium where you have an HOA? Okay, so some of the things you have to take care of. So first thing is, if possible, do not buy in a subdivision or condo where there is an HOA. Okay, the whole concept here is HOA will set rules and regulation which may or may not work with you. So if possible, try to buy single family homes, try to buy other properties where you do not have an HOA in place. I'm telling you that will make your life very easy. But the reality is many times you look at single family homes or in a subdivision, or if you look at condos, they're part of a big condominium where HOA is prevalent, and HOA is there to make sure everyone follows the rules and regulations. So you cannot escape it so easily. All right, so if that is the case, what's the next step you need to do? The very first thing you need to do is find out whether the HOA allows rentals or not. Now, in many of the subdivisions and condos, they might already have investors who have homes whom they are renting out, but they might have stopped or capped it. They might have said that the existing owners can rent out, but new owners cannot. And when you sell out a particular property to some other new owner, they cannot rent it out. So find out those fine prints and understand whether they even allow you to rent in that particular subdivision. That is very critical for you to understand. You do not want to be in a situation where you buy a particular condo or a single family home and you cannot rent it out, right? So you do not want to be in that situation. So definitely have a look at it. Once you're past that particular barrier, the third thing you need to look at is the CC&R, which is a very simple term, is a handbook or book of rules and regulation everyone needs to follow in terms of how that homeowner should take care of the community, how the homeowner should take care of their home, what kind of lawn mowing rules and regulations they have, what kind of snow removal rules and regulations they have, whether you can have a grill on your balcony or not, and things like that. So they are basically a rule book which everyone has to follow. So get a copy of that, make sure you understand every rules, and make sure the rules are not in a way written that it is unjust to you or your tenant. It should not make it harder for your tenants to stay in that condo or a single family home you might have. Okay, so that's the next thing you need to look at. The fourth thing you have to look at is make sure you understand all the dues and fees that they charge. Now, HOA dues varies a lot based on where you are buying a particular condo or a single family home. If you're buying something in a condominium, the HOA fees are very high because they're taking care of landscaping, snow removal, they're also taking care of the clubhouse, they're going to take care of the roof, and all that thing is baked into the monthly charge which they do in terms of the HOA fees. Now, as an investor, that has a direct effect on your cash flow. So you need to understand what those HOA fees are and how that affects you. Also, whenever you go and buy a particular property in HOA-based subdivision or a condo, there is also something called as a capital contribution which they ask, which is nothing but a lump sum of money you have to pay just to become part of that particular community. And many times it could be as simple as $250. It can even go up to $2,500. So make sure you understand what those capital contributions are, which you will have to expect to pay when you join that particular community, when you buy a house in that community. Okay, so please understand that too. And finally, you should also look at how the monthly charges can impact on an ongoing basis. So they might also be considering increasing the monthly fees, which you might see right now as, let's say, $100 per month, and they might be looking at making $150 per month. So they might be thinking of doing some more capital improvements or do repairs to the roof or paint the condo, and they might look at ways of increasing the dues so that they can get money to make those improvements. All that is fair and good, but as an investor, you need to be aware of it because that can again affect your bottom line. Okay, so you are definitely have to do it. And finally, if it's possible, have an opportunity to talk to the HOA president or a member of the HOA. And the reason is you can find out how they look at rentals, how they look at investors buying properties there. Now, one thing I will caution you, no HOA member really likes investors because in their mind, right now, when they think investors, they think that, oh, they're going to buy a property, they're not going to maintain it. It's going to be run as a short-term rental. There's going to be loud parties happening all the time. So in their mind, they have this vision of what an investor would do to their peaceful, quiet community. So just be prepared when you have a discussion that they may not like the idea of investors coming in. But the reason you are having a discussion is to find out like what is happening behind the scenes, because you do not want to be caught by surprise about things which are not part of the rule book, but they are thinking of making it part of the rule book. Because an HOA can decide on the fly that they may not want to do certain things. Like for example, we were in a situation where we had bought a single family home and later found out the HOA wanted to put a rule out there where they were stopping people from renting single family homes. Now, when we bought it, there was nothing in the rule book or nothing in the CCNR document which suggested that. But we later found out the HOA members were working on it behind the scenes for the past 1 year and debating whether they should even allow other people to rent the house, even the homeowners to rent the house. Now, if we had known that ahead of time, we may not have even bought it in the subdivision. So it's always good to talk to some homeowner association member and better understand like, okay, this is what your current state is. Is there a future state where you may not allow rentals? Or even if you do that, are you going to grandfather the existing people who are already renting out houses there? So always have a opportunity to talk to an HOA member so that you understand what are some of the things which are going to come on in the future which might affect you. Okay, so folks, this is the main area I wanted to talk today about, is that when you're buying houses, HOA can play a very big role in affecting your profitability and even impact the ability for you to rent your house or condo. So please have a look at it. Please make sure that when you're buying a particular property where there's an HOA in place, be very careful, be very wary about it. Follow every step along the way to make sure you fully understand what are their thought process in terms of rental, whether they allow it or not, what are the rules and regulations around it, what kind of fees they are charging, and what are some of the things in the future which they might put in place which can affect your rental or your ability to make money out of the rental property. Okay, hope this episode was helpful to you, and if you liked it, please go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. See you next week. Bye.